Welcome to the Tell Us Ellis podcast.
All right, everybody, it is Christmas Eve, and Murph and I recorded earlier today. I'm just getting it out now. We went right from recording. I went to Mass. I think Murph did as well. And then family went out to dinner, kind of our traditional Christmas Eve special together. Got home and said, before we do anything else, I got to get this podcast out. So it's our Christmas Eve edition, college football, NFL football, things football. So Merry Christmas to everybody. I hope you enjoy this podcast and the ones that we've been creating, getting really good feedback. Thank you all. Just a reminder, we're on YouTube at Tell Us Ellis Media, and also on X and Instagram at Tell Us Ellis HQ. If you have any questions or want to be part of the show, just email me, Jamie at. Without further ado, let's get right into the podcast. Murph, we're back.
Jamie.
A Christmas special, a Christmas Eve special.
It's a Festivus.
Let's talk about your shirt today. This is becoming a common theme.
Well, it'll be a common theme at least twice every holiday season.
You don't have any more? You're not going to pull out anything else?
No. I have one more shirt. More of a holiday special, but I do have one more in the old repertoire.
Is it Marty the Moose, or was that what it was? Marty the Moose?
Yeah. Yep.
I love the subtlety of in Christmas Vacation when he's drinking eggnog and he pulls out a Marty the Moose.
Yeah.
A Marty the Moose cup. That's
Yep.
fantastic. Just absolutely fantastic.
It is the best, and I'll watch that probably sometime tonight into tomorrow evening. I'll probably watch it 4 times. Christmas Vacation.
So have you ever watched It's a Wonderful Life?
No, but Peyton's, my daughter's boyfriend, just got done watching it and said it's a must, and so I think I'm going to. So what's your take?
It's a must, and I just dropped a podcast yesterday, Kevin, doing rewind episodes. It's definitely a must-watch. Definitely a must-watch.
I'm embarrassed to say I haven't seen it, but maybe you just talked me into it.
You need to see it. Kevin, we've got a lot to talk about. You know, this time of year, there's football galore, whether it's college, whether it's pro football. I mean, we're coming down to the end of the season here. And I thought maybe we'd start with college football. We talked in our last podcast about Alabama, Oklahoma, and we covered it quite a bit. Thought maybe we'd talk about some of the other games from the weekend. Let's start with what was the 12 o'clock game on Saturday. And you and I talked about, why isn't this the primetime game? It's unbelievable. I'm glad it wasn't the primetime game. We didn't really have any, I would call them great games on Saturday. This was the closest game, but Miami beats Texas A&M 10-3. What are your thoughts just overall? Did that surprise you? We talked about the under being a pretty good pick for this game.
Yeah, we called that one. I don't think it should be a surprise. I don't. If Alabama loses by 21 points or they win by 10, Miami does the same type of thing, I'm just not surprised one way or the other, right? Either way. I did think that Miami game had a lot of drama to it. You had the wind, you had the missed kicks, you had the phantom breakaway. He tripped himself. I mean, there is some interesting things for a football game that was so low scoring. It wasn't boring by any means. It was really an intriguing game with all the stuff that was flying around.
So you mentioned the missed field goals, the phantom tackles or falls. Did somebody have money on this game that was playing in it? I mean, you've got to ask that question, right? Here's what I would say, Kevin. I'm gonna throw this out there. I think Notre Dame and their offense would have beaten I think they would have beaten both teams. And you don't know how Miami would have played against the Notre Dame defense. The Notre Dame defense did play better in the second half of the year, but it just to me, I'm going to have that grievance for a while, probably. Now, Miami did win, and that's the questionable team. Should have Miami been in there versus Notre Dame? But to me, I just think Notre Dame's offense would have scored a lot more points.
Yeah. And does 16 get us out of that mess, right? At 16, does anybody have a legitimate beef? If you don't get in, more than likely that was your fault somehow, some way. But just 4 more teams, I think, could get us to the point where we don't have as many questions, if any.
Yeah, we probably would have had Notre Dame in there. We probably would have had BYU in there. So, yeah. It's interesting. Carson Beck, looking at his stats, he was 14 out of 20 for 103 yards and a touchdown. And now we're setting up this Miami-Ohio State matchup. Ohio State leads the nation in passing defense, 129 yards per game. Total defense, they only allow 213 yards per game. They only allow 8 points per game. It's incredible, right?
Yeah.
So I think this game will tell us a lot about Carson Beck, right?
It's going to have to tell me a lot. I'm not a fan. Wasn't a fan when he was at Georgia. We've talked about some guys, J.J. McCarthy. Does he give you that sort of feeling? I don't know. I don't know.
I feel like Beck has a stronger arm than McCarthy and could maybe get the ball downfield. I don't think he's as athletic as McCarthy, but yeah, it's everything started out well for Miami, and then Beck kind of became who he was at Georgia a little bit.
Mm-hmm. I'm just not a fan. I don't know.
Yeah.
He would have to do a lot for me to sit there and say that's a really good pick inside of the first 3 rounds.
Yeah.
To me, he screams second day, but
yeah, I think that's right. I think he's second day. That feels right. 5th round, 6th round, something like that. Well, after that game, Kevin, we turned our attention to Ole Miss and Tulane, and you said, look, Ole Miss is going to be able to handle this one. I said, really? Tulane's not a bad team. Ole Miss wins 41-10. It's interesting. Tulane did have 421 yards of offense in that game. Now, they were playing from behind, so some of that is just, junk yardage. But what did you think? Ole Miss, you said, hey, watch him make a run. Does this keep going?
Sure. There's no reason to think it couldn't or shouldn't, because once again, you got this team that you can talk to them. We're not supposed to be here. Nobody wanted you guys. Look at us. Are we even in the playoffs anymore? Is anybody talking about us? So I just think 100% they're dangerous. And I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah.
If it keeps going.
Do you know a lot about Ole Miss's quarterback, Trinidad Chambliss? Because he played, I looked at his stats. He was 23 of 29, 282 yards, threw for a touchdown, ran for 2 more. He looked pretty impressive. Is this a guy that can take that next step and keep Ole Miss going?
Did he have a stop at Florida or not?
Good question. I'm not sure.
I am not familiar with him. I was just trying to.
Yeah, I'm just looking at it now. He's from Grand Rapids, which is interesting. He started at Mississippi. Let me see here. I'm not sure, Kevin. In April of 25, Chambliss announced his decision to transfer to the University of Mississippi. I'm just not sure where he transferred from.
Yeah, I can't remember. For one reason or another, I thought he was.
No,
I thought he was Florida.
Played for Ferris State and won took him to a national championship. And then he transferred. So again, one of these kids, probably not highly recruited, did really well outside of the FBS. Somebody throws money and says, hey, come play for us. And hey, good performance. No doubt about it. So then we go to the night game, Oregon, James Madison. I think you and I both had high hopes for James Madison. The final score was 51-34. Dan Lanning was not happy. Read one of his quotes. He said, "There's certainly a standard of performance. Our players know that, and they know what championship football looks like, and the second half didn't look like that." What did you think of the game?
It didn't have my interest. You know what I mean? I watched the early part, which I wanted to,
Yeah.
and sort of, I mean, there were some matchups and things like that, but it was pretty evident to me early on this was going one direction, and it just nothing was going to change that, right?
Yeah.
If
You would-
now if they would have performed better and played better, I wouldn't have been surprised. But that's just the way they were. That's who they are, and
We are who we thought they were.
yes,
So it was 34-6 at halftime. I think one of your keys to victory was, look, James Madison has to control the clock. They need to control the ball. That just didn't happen. It got away from them. It's a shame. I think that the limelight of being in this huge game probably impacted them. They did they outscored Oregon 28-17 in the second half. But Oregon had 514 yards of total offense. I mean,
that's the haves and the have-nots, right? Like you're talking about Oregon.
Yeah, right.
So, no, I mean, nothing to be ashamed of. Once again, can we figure out a better way to not have that in the first round? What if we just had the Bama Oklahoma game and the A&M Miami game, and if we could have found a way to have two more competitive games or two more competitive games with two more, essentially blowouts, is that livable? Who knows? I just think another four teams gets us away from that.
Yeah, it would be interesting if they did something with those, mid-major conferences where they don't play a conference championship game, but instead they take four teams and they say, okay, the four of you play. The winner of that four-team playoff, if you will, you go into the field of 12. So it's almost like you have to show you can do it before you get in there with the big boys or something like that. But my goodness, we could talk about that. Better ways to handle the playoff all day.
Well, and then I've heard some really interesting stuff thinking regarding like a national champion, then a national champion for rankings, I don't know, 45 to 75 or something. You know what I mean?
Interesting.
And have three champions within the Division I bracket relegated into different classes. And I just think it might be people will watch as much football as you will put on. So
oh yeah,
if you can put it in front of them, people are going to watch it. So
yeah, very true. Well, Kevin, that sets up some pretty intriguing matchups. Just starting on New Year's Eve, there's one game. It's the Cotton Bowl. We talked about it a little bit. Miami, Ohio State. Do you see any way of Miami staying in this game? They're getting 9.5 points. I'm actually surprised the spread. I'm surprised they're not getting more points than that. But just early thoughts on Miami, Ohio State.
Well, it's tough. There's a Ohio State team you haven't seen for how long? When was the last time they were on the field? And there's going to be rust there. You got a Miami team that's played and proven themselves on the road on a big stage. Got to have a lot of momentum coming into that game from that locker room. Nothing would surprise me. Nothing would surprise me. I am leaning towards a close game. I think I would take Miami and the points. And I think that one could be a low-scoring game.
Yeah, I mean, Ohio State's defense, I gave you the numbers earlier. They're not going to let Miami score a lot of points, right? I would be somewhat surprised if Miami scored more than 10 points in this game. The question is, can they hold Ohio State? I just don't know if they can. If I was picking this game today, I'd probably take Ohio State minus the 9.5. The over-under's 42.5. That might be a little intriguing. Maybe do the under there. But I could see this being, a 24-10 type of game, something like that.
But you don't know, though, either.
Yeah.
In those 6 weeks, as Ohio State reinvented themselves, or came up with a different 5-play package that they haven't shown all year. What's out there. So we'll have to.
You said it a week ago or 2 weeks ago whenever we did our podcast. You mentioned, did Ohio State show everything in that Big Ten championship game? Maybe they held some stuff back. Yeah, we'll see what happens. But I think we're on the same page. Lower scoring game.
Well, and that's probably a great topic for when the dust settles, is moving forward conference championship games in general. Like, what are they?
Yeah.
What purpose do they serve? How do we look at them as fans, and how does a committee view them?
We know how the committee viewed them this year. It was meaningless, right? Alabama loses and you stay right where you are. So again, though, money talks. And you look at the number of people that were in the seats of that Big Ten championship. Now it fell perfectly. It's in Indianapolis. IU is a hop, skip, and a jump down the road. But as long as it brings in money, you have to think that they're going to keep doing it. So we'll see.
We're going to have our answer sooner than later.
Yes.
Right.
I hope so. I hope so. Going to New Year's Day, 3 huge games. You've got the Orange Bowl, the Rose Bowl, and the Sugar Bowl. Orange Bowl, Oregon, Texas Tech. Oregon is -1.5. And the over-under's 52.5. What do you think of this matchup?
Well, I think you lace them up and it's going to be a track meet, and up and down is what my gut tells me.
Yeah.
It's just going to be one of those, you're not going to want to settle for a field goal.
Yeah.
If you have a possession, I think you're going to want to score a touchdown.
It could be the most entertaining game of the day, because I agree with you. I mean, Oregon just scored, 51 points, and Texas Tech, more known for their offense than their defense. It should be an entertaining game. If I was picking it, I think I'd take Oregon minus the 1.5. The over-under's intriguing at 52.5. I'd probably go over that total.
It's pretty interesting to have, once again, a considerable amount of time in between, right? Because as we sit here and talk about the games, we're still a ways away, right?
We are.
Yeah, it's not that I'm not excited about the games. I just think there could be 3 storylines that come out that could change the way the way you're gonna view the game and bet the game. So I think it's an interesting chill out period right now between these games.
Yeah, and we'll probably go deeper on these games before they kick off, but
now, it's like we just don't know, right? We don't know.
Yeah.
We don't know.
We've got a whole week of pro football to get through before we get here.
Big football.
Rose Bowl is Alabama, Indiana. Indiana's favored by 6.5 in this one. Over-under's 48.5. I've just living out here, I'm really pulling for IU. I mean, everybody is living and dying by this. I've said it before. I worry that they left too much on the field in the Big Ten championship. I think this is going to be a tough game for Indiana.
Yeah, sometimes I look at programs, coaches, and things like that, and sometimes you take a step back and go, was the moment too big? Were they prepared for it? And all, those types of questions. For one reason or another, I'm not worried about Cignetti's team not being ready.
Yeah.
I'm not worried that Cignetti hasn't already, in his mind, played the game he's going to play, in the Rose Bowl already.
Yeah. And coaches do that, right? We talked about McVay last week.
And I think there's times where something comes up in a game and I'm like, were you prepared for that moment in that game? And a lot of times it's based on success. A lot of times it's, how do we burn the clock with 4 minutes left? How do we get that that key first down after the 2-minute, you know what I mean? How do we time all this just right so that we don't give the ball back? And you know, it's not always about scoring a late touchdown as much as it is just executing whatever the requirement is at that moment.
Yeah. I think that, again, it'll be an interesting game. And around here, the streets will be empty. Everybody's going to be at home watching the game and probably hungover from the night before, too.
Happily
Yeah.
hungover.
And then the last game is the Sugar Bowl, Ole Miss, Georgia. Kind of feel like if there's a lopsided game, and this isn't fair, right? It's not fair for me to say this, but I feel like if there's the potential for a lopsided game, it could be this. And I just say that based on, you know, again, Ole Miss, new coaches in there, or people taking over the leadership of the team, and you're going up against Georgia. And, you know, Ole Miss is getting 6.5. It's not like the spread's that crazy. Obviously, like I think a lot of people are pulling for Ole Miss and for the kids at Ole Miss, but just feels like I feel like that game could get away from them a little bit.
Yeah, it absolutely could. I wouldn't be surprised if it didn't. I wouldn't be surprised if it went the distance and that game was close down to the wire, right? I don't think there's any surprise. Ole Miss had to have known at one point or another it goes through Georgia. So the fact that they were preparing for a late season possibility, I would think they were preparing, I guess. Those conversations and what they were going to do may have been more known than we think. So they could be in better hands than we think. But once again, time will tell. Who knows?
Yeah.
I wonder how you handle that logistically. Like, how do you handle it with the kids?
Yeah.
If you're Ohio State, how long has it been? It's been a long time.
Yeah. It's now they probably have finals and stuff, but I don't know. I mean, when Signetti, like, he won the Big Ten championship, and he's like, thank goodness I have 3.5 weeks to prepare, or whatever it was. And yeah, in my head, I'm like, how do you get your kids up for that game? And it does make me wonder, do teams like Oregon and Alabama and Miami and Ole Miss, do they have a little bit of an advantage because they did play last week?
I don't know. I think you have an advantage. I think, you know, anytime you can get out on the field and get some success and have that real recent feeling of success and a little mojo, yeah, I think you take it.
Well, it'll be fascinating. You're right. There's going to be a lot of storylines in the next week. We'll get more in depth in these games before they kick off, but should lead to an exciting second round of the college football playoff. Well, Murph, let's get into the NFL a little bit. So 2 weeks to go. This is always such an interesting time of year. I mean, you know, first of all, I went to the Monday night game. Rivers is phenomenal. Like, that guy, I love that guy. I mean, I just love him. Have you heard the clips? Like, he was mic'd up for the game, and he's just such an unbelievable leader. I don't know if it's true or not. I saw a couple posts on this that at halftime he went in and he absolutely lit up the defense and was like, I didn't come out of retirement for this. Like, he was pissed. Again, I don't know if that's true or not, but it wouldn't surprise me. I have to tell you, my highlight of the game, Kevin, was I actually caught a T-shirt. So they do a parachute drop with T-shirts, and I've been trying for 12 years to get one of these T-shirts. I got my T-shirt. So,
well, that's outstanding.
That's outstanding. It was the one, you know, other than the first half where we kind of kept up with the 49ers. But yeah, that was my big moment. But the game was fun. It's always good to go to a Monday night game. All the you know, media and so forth.
From an entertainment standpoint, I mean, that football game had everything in it. You know, you had a little bit of everything, and that Phillip Rivers story obviously is just a pretty special one. Can't get enough of it either.
No. I will tell you, he's put on a couple pounds. The guy behind me was like, I've heard of a flak jacket before, but this looks more like a fat jacket. But hey, man, he can still throw the ball. He kind of throws it like a shot put. He always kind of had that weird motion, but a lot to like there.
Yeah, The only thing was when he was younger and his weird motion, it just sounded like a howitzer was going on.
Yeah, exactly.
But it was from down there. But
Uh,
um, no, it's been a great story. So I was watching mainly because you were there in the Philip Rivers story.
yeah.
So
Well, before we get into the games, I wanted to just talk a little bit about the draft because, we've got this time of the year where, yeah, you're playing for a playoff spot, but you're also playing for a number one draft pick. And it's interesting, if you look at the draft order right now, the Giants and Vegas are up at the top. They're both 2-13. They both lost 9 in a row. That's unbelievable. And they play each other this week. So that's really interesting. Then beyond them, the Giants in Vegas are 2-13. Cleveland's 3-12. The Jets in Tennessee and Arizona are 3-12. And then you have Washington at 4-11. So, when you look at I'm a big Todd McShay fan. I listen to a lot of his stuff. He's got Mendoza as the number one pick overall. The only other quarterback he has in his top 10 is Dante Moore from Oregon. Now, he is a huge Dante Moore fan, but he has him going third overall. He has Arvell Reese from Ohio State, the linebacker, going number 2. Now, when you look at this, would the Giants, let's say they get the number one pick, are they going to pick a quarterback? I mean, is Dart their guy?
well, eventually you got to make that decision, right? And we see it happen all the time. Look at Daniel Jones, prime example, right?
Right.
Sat there with the Giants in essentially NFL purgatory, where nothing happens.
Yeah.
And it was his fault. He didn't have this, he didn't have that, and then all of a sudden he comes out and plays, right? Sam Darnold is another guy who we've talked to on our show. So
we've talked to him? We've actually talked to him on our show?
No.
That would be good if we did.
No, I talked to him in
You
third
talked to
person.
him?
Yeah, like sort of like he's like right there.
Yeah, no,
But,
I know what you mean.
No, so I think eventually you have to make that decision. Or what are you going to do? You just can keep, chasing the shiny new toy. Quarterback. Oh, another quarterback, right? Like eventually you have to say, you have to trust your gut. And this is my 3-4 year guy. Let's give him some time. And
you do feel like the Giants, though, have some really good pieces there. Like before a lot of their injuries, I mean, they beat the Chargers earlier in the season. They looked really good. Now, again, they've lost 9 in a row. Make no mistake about it. But you get the right coach in there. You've got the receiver. You've got the running back. Maybe Dart is the guy. I don't know. But I find it hard to believe that they would take a quarterback number 1 overall. Maybe they trade back a little bit. One thing that McShay floated around is, does Cleveland trade up, which is just so crazy to me because, they have all of these quarterbacks. But again, they have a really good defense. So I don't know what you do there. I think that Vegas, if they got the number 1 pick, Geno Smith signed a 2-year, $75 million deal. I absolutely think they'd take a quarterback.
yeah, I think the Raiders would take one too. And if it was the right guy, absolutely. As for the Giants, what could you get? Like, what if you could get 3 linemen or 3 picks, defense and offense, between late round 1 and the end around day 1? What kind of value could you get? That stuff's interesting to me.
Yeah, there's this value calculator out there on the internet that says, hey, if you trade a first round number 1 pick overall, here's what you should get in return. I haven't looked at it, but yeah, I mean, let's say the Giants traded back three spots and they traded the number 1 for the number 3, do you also get a second round pick high up? And you're right. Now, all of a sudden, you're stacking those picks. You're building that in the trenches team. You give a guy like Jackson Dart a little more protection. Again, you've got the receivers, you've got the running back, assuming they come back from injury okay. I don't think this team is that far away. I don't think they're as bad as they look on paper.
Well, you're going to need to see some leadership there, right? Like who's
Yeah.
coming in and who and how will they work together? And
Yeah.
they have that whole division is like the NFC East, right? Like it's not a very good time. And
No.
what are you going to do? You just start blowing things up, I guess.
Yeah. I don't know if you saw Jerry Jones after they lost this week. He was pissed. I mean, they showed him in the booth. He was clearly pissed. Uh, I thought they made a lot of good trades, by the way. We talked about that, but just a little too late to make an impact. So, I do think at this point, from what I've read out there, I mean, it does sound like Mendoza is the likely number one pick. Uh, Dante Moore from Oregon, I've watched a lot of his games this year. I, you know, I'm not as in love with him as Todd McShay is. I think he's a good quarterback. The only other one I want to talk about is Jeremiah Love. Obviously, I've seen a lot of him playing with Notre Dame. Seems like he would be a really good bruising yet nimble running back. I mean, as big as the guy is, like he's very unique. I think he's going to make a big difference for a team. I think McShay, he had him going to Arizona, I think, in his mock draft. But yeah, I think there's a lot to like there with Jeremiah Love.
Yeah, I think he is like a can't miss guy, right? Obviously, he's going to the NFL. He's going to do, I think, very well there. We had that talk last week, though, about the position in general.
Yeah.
He is, you right? Like, but
Yeah.
he is one of the special guys. Like, he
Yeah.
is a guy that can take that 25-yarder and make it an 85-yarder. Not sure he got quite the respect I felt he deserved for his collegiate body of work. I thought the Heisman voters were a little short-sighted with shortened memory with that guy.
You sound like Diego Pavia there for a second.
Well, I'm trying to say I was the best without saying I was the best without saying I was upset I wasn't voted the best by the effing people,
Oh,
effing
man.
voters. Yeah.
Terrible. It's terrible. Really quick, and I'll put a fork in this, but McShay, 3 of his top 6 players on his board are Ohio State players, and none of them are quarterbacks, right? So you've Arvell Reese, you've got Caleb Downs, and you have Carnell Tate, the wide receiver. So, yeah, I mean, boy, that Ohio State team is pretty good. Even though they lost the Big Ten championship, I think there's something special.
Yeah, and let's see how they handle that Miami team. But we have so much time. It feels like.
I know, you're right.
Games.
You're right. It does feel
Just
like
feels
we've got
like
a
we're
lot.
talking about something.
Let's just
so
get through.
far down.
Let's just get through Christmas. You know. Let's.
How about it? How about it?
All right. Let's flip to week 16 of the NFL. We talked about the Seattle Rams game. We recorded after that, but Saturday had a couple games. I thought they were interesting. First, Philly beat Washington 29-18. You know, this was kind of a close game. I think I even texted you during the game and said something about Philly. I think if Mariota doesn't get hurt, that game might be a little bit different.
Yeah.
Hurts was just over 6 yards per pass, which is low. I mean, I'm a stats guy. That's one of the betting tools that I use, yards per pass. He's just very low. I think Barkley saved him in this game. He had 132 yards rushing. What did you see? Yeah. What did you see from Philly or Washington?
I thought coming off of the game against the Raiders, I thought the Eagles once again looked like they were putting some things in motion. It's just a horrible fumble to start the game off with.
Yeah.
That's a whole possession right there that you flush.
That's
You know what
right.
I mean? You never get it back. So, maybe we were lucky we even got to see them play as well as they did play. They put some points on the board. They had some drives. I thought the ball moved pretty well. Jalen Hurts looked at times to be running better, a little bit more comfortable. Like maybe as he gets closer to the playoffs, they start letting him go a little bit more, making him that threat again. can you imagine getting that threat back with Barkley hitting holes now? And you really do have to honor a read pass option with Hurts. That could change the way teams look at the Eagles for sure.
Kevin, we talked about how Ohio State might have held some stuff back in the Big Ten championship. When you look at the Eagles this year, I mean, they got off to a good start. The division around them was crumbling, right? Is there any chance that they just said, look, we're going to put in a playbook that's pretty vanilla and we're going to win games, we're going to lose some games, but let's play our best football in the playoffs? Do you think that's possible at the pro level to do that?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, now you have to get into the playoffs, right? I mean, I
Yeah.
don't think you're holding anything back that could help you secure a playoff berth.
No,
But
they're squarely in.
yeah, if you're heading to a certain way, or do you get a little bit more vanilla? I think 100% you do. Or it's not so much maybe holding plays back. Are you putting in formations just to see how a defense will look at it, right?
Yeah.
Like maybe not for this week, but 3 weeks down the road, if we go trips like in a bunch, what do they do? How do they handle it? And could we get this looked at 3 different times to see how they handle it 3 different ways? Things like that. I'm sure they're doing that kind of chess stuff
Yeah.
for sure. And that's why I think it's hard for fantasy football. I mean, like sometimes your playoffs come down to these last couple of weeks, and depending on where your teams are and what your teams need out of that week, like some players will be benched. Some, if they're not making the playoffs, they're not going to risk them. They're going to want to see what other guys can do. So
Yeah, we'll see what happens. They've got the Bills. They're at the Bills this week, which is a you know really good game, and then they finish at home against the Commanders. Feels like at worst they go 1-1. The likelihood of them doing anything other than getting a 3 seed is pretty unlikely. They're a game behind the Bears, but the Bears have the tiebreaker. So we'll see how much they show against the Bills.
yeah, that could end up being a very boring game, couldn't it?
It could. It could. Let's talk about Buffalo while we have them on our mind. So they beat Cleveland 23-20 in a pretty uninspiring performance. I mean, Josh Allen was a very pedestrian 12 of 19 for 130 yards. Got a little banged up in there, too. Again, a running back kind of rescued him, James Cook, who might be the team MVP. I don't know. 16 carries, 117 yards, 2 touchdowns. Buffalo, Kevin, I just can't put my finger on them. It's like every time I think they're about to take off, they fall back a little bit. I still think they would be my pick. I think they would be my pick in the AFC. But I might be wrong with that. But yeah, what do you think of Buffalo?
Man, did you watch his run? Cook's touchdown run. That was really, really impressive. Like, there's not a lot of people that can do that.
No, this guy, he's special.
He is like 100% special. And you and I asking ourselves, what is it? What's that one thing? When I saw him break that run, I thought to myself, are the Bills back, right? Like, are the Bills clicking? Or is this what we're going to see? Cleveland has a way of doing that to teams, right?
Yeah.
Well, just going in and playing lackluster and just sort of just getting back on an airplane with a win and leaving town.
Yeah. I hear you. It's a shame, too, because, again, defensively, they're freaking good. Like, they're not a bad team. Shador was not his best. 20 of 29, 157 yards, 1 touchdown, 2 interceptions. But, Cleveland kept it close. Buffalo probably went into the game thinking that this is an easy one. They still have, of course, the Eagles we talked about, and then they're at home against the Jets. So they're firmly entrenched in a playoff spot. The division is questionable, but I think they have to put some things together here.
Yeah, I'm rooting for him. I would actually, I can say in good conscience, I'm rooting. Now other horses in the race. I'm a Packers fan, but the Bills getting it done, I think, would be just a really, really cool story.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about your Packers. They were the other Saturday game, and you know, what's going on with them, Kevin? Like, and now, Jordan Love's in the concussion protocol. I just read that this morning. I don't understand this. It sounded like he was practicing, which I don't think you can if you're in the concussion protocol, but maybe he was just thrown on the side or something.
Maybe he's in the concussion protocol and thought he was throwing on the side, but he really wasn't throwing on the side.
Could be. It's a good point. I think that happened to Aikman a couple of times.
Jamie, did he have his helmet with him?
Yeah, yeah. But your boys, like, what's going on with them? Because they're another team kind of like Buffalo, where it's like every time I think they're about to hit stride, now they've lost a couple in a row, right? They lost to Denver and now lose to Chicago in a pretty big game.
You sit there and you look at special teams and you work on them, maybe not as much as you should, but you have them, you're prepared. Everybody knows where they're supposed to be. And then there's the human factor of doing it is exactly what you're supposed to do. And it doesn't happen.
Yeah.
90% of the time it does. That 10% right there ended up getting the ball in the other hands. And that was all she said, all she wrote.
Yeah.
And I went to the bathroom. I came back. I'm like, why don't we have the ball?
Yeah.
I was just like, what happened here?
Yeah. Tough one.
Well, yeah, it is tough because, who do you blame? It's nothing more than a human factor. The guy was where he was supposed to be. He wasn't surprised.
Yeah.
He was told. He just didn't execute it. And it cost them a football game against a big interdivisional opponent.
I mean, this is how the Bears win, though. Like, when you look at it, they have a plus 21 turnover differential, which is the best in the NFL. They're 7-2 in one-score games. And listen to this. They have won 6 games when they trailed with 2 minutes to go in the game. Is that crazy? Like,
it is, and you're not talking about a collection of like the last 3 seasons. You're talking about all in one season.
One season, 6 games where they were trailing with 2 minutes to go, which tells me, are they like, what happens in the playoffs though? Do you still have those miracles, or is this a team that's, again, a paper tiger a little bit? They have the players, and I'll tell you, Caleb Williams, every time I watch him, like, I think he's getting better and better.
Well, and is that group just slowly starting to believe in each other, right? Are they just starting to believe their press clippings and like, we really just find a way to win. We're just going to find a way to win, like we've done the other games. The Bears have been a huge head scratcher. When do they show their real colors, or is this who they are? And it's good for football though. It's good. Chicago's a football town, man. I mean, they love their Bears, and it's been a while, so it's interesting. Interesting to see where it ends up.
They play the 49ers in the Sunday night game this week. It's at San Francisco. That's a game I'm going to watch because I think San Francisco is a scary team right now. Like, they impressed me so much on Monday night. In fact, we can go to that game. When Purdy threw 5 touchdown passes. McCaffrey runs for 117 yards. Kittle catches 115 yards of receptions. They've won 5 straight. They've already beaten the Rams and Seahawks this year. Now, their other wins aren't great, but look, if you beat the Rams and Seahawks, they're arguably the top 2 teams, maybe in the NFL.
And the NFL, you have up and down scheduling, right? So you play who you play. I mean, that's it. If that's who you played this year, that's who you played. But they look really, really strong. And the Rams, I'm trying to remember what we were talking about.
San Francisco, really good, beat the Rams.
So San Francisco to me sort of is that, why aren't we talking about them quiet team? And like, I wouldn't be surprised if they come out. We talked about them as possible Super Bowl odds and things like that. I mean, you could see that with that team.
Yeah, they're quiet. I tell you, I'm going to look at the odds here, but it does feel like, Kevin, that's a good bet to place right now. I mean, I I think that's a good bet to place. I'm not saying they're going to do it, but they have just quietly won football games.
Yeah.
Um,
Yep.
Another team that's quietly won football games is the Chargers. They beat Dallas pretty handily. It's interesting. The Chargers started out 3-0. They had a ton of injuries on their offensive line. They lost 3 out of 4. But now that's another team. They've gone 7-1 in their last 8 games. They have 4 straight wins. Herbert's playing really good football right now. I mean, he's in the MVP conversation. I don't think he's going to get it, but what do you think? What do you think of the Chargers right now?
That's really interesting when you say they what did you say? They're 7-1 in their last
7-1 in their
games.
last 8 games.
I mean, that's really an impressive run. I didn't know that.
Herbert is 5th right now. Has the 5th best odds. He's plus, I mean, it's plus 10,000, right? He's not going to win it. But being number 5, I mean, that tells you something. They've just quietly, again, kind of like San Francisco, they've quietly been winning games.
Yeah. And I don't know much about them. I don't get to watch their games as much. Now,
West
San
Coast.
Francisco, I feel as though I do get to watch quite a bit. And I'm a big fan of what they do with the sort of the small intermediate level passing off of the play fake and a good solid commitment to the run. I wanted to say something about the Niners and didn't get to it.
Yeah.
I was able to watch them this past weekend, and the one thing that you look at with that team is you see Kittle like block, you see like McCaffrey block downfield, you see their receivers making that extra sprint to make that block. And those are the things that make you, like, in the back of your mind go, could they win a Super Bowl? Is this team special? And when you start remembering certain things like that, a guy like Kittle that'll block and put it out there, and Purdy had those touchdowns. It wasn't like he was, I don't want to say like throwing it down your throat or anything. It was just controlled. Just a controlled offense, just working its way down the field.
Kevin, the guy that sits behind me, we were talking about it. I mean, they just seem to be San Francisco, like such a professional organization. They don't make a lot of mistakes. You're right. Like, I was watching Kittle the whole game, and he was blocking downfield. And you watch their wide receiver routes, they run them so tightly. Like, everything just feels very professional. And I'm going to tell you, I know they gave up a lot of points, but Robert Saleh, is that his name? Robert?
Yeah.
Robert Saleh, I love the guy. I remember watching him on Hard Knocks when they did the Jets. He is a very professional guy. The way he ran his team with the Jets, despite all the shit that happened with him, I think he brings some professionalism there to that organization. He's going to get another head coaching gig, by the way. Boy, I think a team's going to really, I don't know if he'd go back to New York, but like the Giants, wow, that would be really good. But yeah, Kevin, you're right. They are just such a professional organization.
And just the control factor, right? They just seem in such good control of everything they want to do. Like, the Rams also very much look in control of everything they want to do.
And that's McVay.
Two great offensive minds, right? You got Shanahan and McVay, two of the best in the business. But yeah, I'm definitely watching closely.
Yeah. And really quick, so the 49ers, from a Super Bowl standpoint, they're still plus 1,300. I thought they'd move up a little bit. That puts them 6, 7, 8, 9th on the list. I'm surprised. There's a lot of value there. I think we need to talk about a strategy.
Yeah. No, I would partake. I think there is value there.
A couple more games. I'm not going to talk about this one. Tennessee beats Kansas City, which was a surprise to me. I think you had Tennessee in our picks. Gardner Minshew gets hurt.
Early, very
early, really sad. Chris Oladokin came in as the quarterback. I don't know if you know anything about him. He's from South Dakota State. I always love it when those guys get an opportunity. So kind of fun.
Absolutely. It's hard not to. And if you're like a football junkie like me, I mean, there's a reason I watch the ends of the first weeks of preseason football, because I think it's so cool if somebody gets that shot, somebody gets that opportunity to make a dream come true. It's cool. It's just fun. And so this time of year presents that also. You know, some people can get some good tape. Some people can get some very good reps against NFL talent and prove to some people that they can play in this league. So yeah, it's always a good time. I hope we have a great story.
Yeah.
There's no reason to think there isn't one on the horizon, right? Just waiting to happen.
Who knows? Maybe he takes Mahomes' job. Well, let's not go that far. Let's not go that far. Cam Ward, there was actually a Cam Ward sighting in that game. Had a really good game, actually. 21 of 28 for 228 yards, 2 touchdowns, a rating over 120. So hopefully things look up for Tennessee a little bit. Another game that didn't really have a lot of meaning. Cincinnati beat Miami 40-21. Miami feels like they're packing it in. Quinn Ewers started the game. Again, another quarterback. He was a 7th rounder. Obviously liked his body of work in college, but Ewers 20 of 30, no touchdowns, 2 interceptions. Burrow was 25 of 32 for 309 yards and 4 touchdowns.
I did give Burrow the nod in a fantasy situation because I just couldn't imagine coming off of that Buffalo Bills game that he was going to have another bad one. So I thought for sure we would get a good game out of him. But yeah, that's sort of sad when you have a team like the Bengals playing meaningless football.
Yeah,
that's too good of a roster.
They're too good.
Too good of pieces and parts to not be playing meaningful football.
Tyler Shuck had another good football game for New Orleans. They continue to impress. That's a team they're going to be fun to watch in the offseason, see what they do. New Orleans beats the Jets 29-6. Shuck just continues to impress.
Yeah, and once again, just a sort of a feel-good story, right? I mean, the guy looks the part. It's not like the balls he's throwing are like tipped up in the air and somebody's catching it and running backwards for some lucky touchdown. He is throwing NFL balls. And so good for him, man. I hope it continues.
Agree. Kevin, somebody has to tell J.J. McCarthy that he is not good enough to get hurt so often. I know he's your buddy. I know you like J.J. a lot. He left the game with an injury, a hand injury. Minnesota does end up beating the Giants 16-13. You said it last week when we were doing our picks. You're like, I would bet money not to have to watch this game. Total offense. Well, first of all, Minnesota ran 54 plays. The Giants only ran 43 plays. So brutal. Minnesota had 240 total yards. The Giants only had 141 total yards. Brutal game. Just brutal.
Yeah, we sort of saw that heading that way, but that's the other thing about this time of year. You're going to get those games too. And they're just there's just nothing to them. You hope people get out of them without being injured, and like we talked about, get some good video. I wouldn't want to bet those games with any like my money. I don't want to bet nothing with real money, right? Like who knows what is going on right now?
Games like that, just pick the under. You're probably safe.
Yeah.
Carolina made a statement, Kevin. They beat Tampa 23-20. Not really sure how they did it, but Carolina started 1-3. They've gone 7-4 since then. The Buccaneers started 6-2. They've lost 6 of 7.
Well, and then that was a game that I got to watch quite a bit of too, and it didn't look like Carolina was very surprised with themselves playing good football. They sort of had a little swagger to them, like this is the way we expected to play today, which I thought was pretty cool. You and I are both sort of rooting for them to get hot. I think it would be great to see Carolina become relevant again, but no, I thought they played I thought they played very well.
If the season ended today, they'd be the number 4 seed because they'd win that division, which is crazy, right? Let's see, at the 4 seed, I get they would have the luxury of playing San Francisco right now. Yikes.
Yeah,
Yikes.
I don't want that.
A couple more games. Jacksonville. Boy, man, Kevin, Jacksonville's the real deal. Like, I question it every week, but going to Denver and winning the way they did, 34-20, are they the real deal?
Yeah, yeah, and I think the way they're winning, I mean, excuse me, got to watch that one too. I mean, he's running the ball. He's
Yeah.
getting that extra yard for the first down. Took a horrible hit in that game. Like the whistle stopped and he was just sort of standing there and boom, some guy from the Broncos came up and hit him from behind and I was surprised it wasn't a fight. None of his offensive linemen lost their minds or anything and it was like early in the game too. And you're hitting the franchise like that.
Yeah. Yeah. He was sacked 5 times in that game.
He
But
just he looks once again like a guy that's in control. He just looks like he understands where he wants to go with the ball. And that, like when you see like an offensive coordinator and a quarterback and an offensive team like in a flow, they look like they're in a flow.
yeah.
Like there's never this like look like, what did you play? Like, what call did you make? Everybody's just on the same page.
Yeah. He's jumped up to the 4th best odds in MVP voting. Trevor, plus 7,500, but again, it's good to see. He needed this. He needed a year like this.
Yep.
I also wonder what this will tell us about Denver. They went on that winning streak, and does this kind of burst their bubble a little bit? We'll see. We'll see.
And are they a year early?
Yeah, it always felt like they were. Still don't know what we have in Bo Nix. Again, I think 85% of the time he plays really well, but that other 15% is not that pretty. So
If it didn't work out for them, you have a feeling they're going to be there next year. So
yep.
Are they just a little bit ahead of schedule? Who knows?
Atlanta beat Arizona 26-19. We're not going to talk a lot about it. It's just not worth it. I wanted to talk about Pittsburgh, Detroit. So Pittsburgh in a wild ending. I mean, it was a crazy ending. But Pittsburgh winning in Detroit in a game they needed to win, I think that tells me a lot about Pittsburgh. And again, a Tomlin coach team.
And what does it tell you about Detroit?
Yeah.
Had to win a game. They were at home. They're not playing world beaters. It's the Steelers. I mean, it's a very manageable professional team to try to win. Like as much as you sit there and you say, what a nice one for the Steelers, what a horrible loss for the Lions.
Yeah, at home. I mean, they have had a lot of injuries, but every team has injuries. You have to overcome it. I wanted to talk to you about the DK Metcalf situation. I don't know if you saw the video of it, him getting into an altercation with a fan. You have to block that out, right? I mean, you can't let that get to you.
No.
And now he's suspended for 2 games. And, the Steelers, they feel like they have the division in their control at this point, but just not a good look. Like when a player goes after a fan like that, it's awful.
Well, it's not a good look, and it's certainly not a something that as a player you would want known, right? I don't
No.
want people to know that I can hear what you say. Plus, everybody has these things. Like, why isn't he listening to music like that, like every other person?
Yeah.
No, it was horrible. It was stupid. If you're being honest and you're a coach, you're like, what are you even doing over there? Like, what? We have like a football game today. What are you even within 5 yards of that wall?
And how does security even allow that to happen? Like, just looking at the Colts games, I'm not saying the security they have are the best security people in the business, but there's no way they would allow a fan or a player to interact like that. I was just surprised.
Yeah, I didn't care for it at all. And
But
he should know better.
It's silly. But Tomlin, he He's going to have his over 500 season. Give him credit for all the stuff fans say about him in Pittsburgh. The guy does win games.
He does, and what do you want out of it, right?
Yeah.
Do you want to win a lot of great games? Who knows?
Just a couple more games, Kevin. Houston beats Vegas 23-21. Kind of an uninspiring performance from a team that I've thought highly of over the last few weeks. C.J. Stroud didn't look great. I talked about yards per pass. He only had 5.3 yards per pass.
Well, we were talking about how sometimes a game at Cleveland can do that to you.
Yeah.
Sometimes playing the Raiders might do that to you in some way.
It was good to see Ashton Genty for the Raiders have a good game. He ran for 128 yards.
Had a really nice catch.
Yeah. So good to see there. And then New England in the Sunday night game comes back, beats Baltimore 28-24. Drake May 380 yards passing. That was a good response, especially after losing to Buffalo.
Heck yeah, it was. And then if you're Baltimore, like, what does it say?
Lamar Jackson gets hurt. He was knocked out of the game with a back injury. Tyler Huntley came in and played really well. I mean, I don't know if they lost a lot, but yeah.
No, he runs that offense. Huntley. Yeah. He's not intimidated by that offense in any way, shape, or form. It's just, once again, there it is. Another season's over for Baltimore. They will not be in the postseason. And it's like, I don't know, you just don't think of the Ravens like that. You think of the Ravens as being a team that's in the hunt all the time. And the Steelers as a team that's in the hunt all the time. Here they are in the same division, pretty much dragging it down. Do you have to make changes?
Yeah. All right, Murph, we're going to make our picks for the week. Let me tell you where we stand right now. So last week, you ended up on the plus side, $9,665, so still below where you started. I had an awful week. I lost too much. I'm down to $79.50. So this is an important week. I've got to make some ground on you here. Let's start with some Christmas games that feels like Santa's giving us coal with some of these games. But Dallas is at Washington. Washington is +7. The over-under is 50.5. I'm going to tell you that I'm going to take Dallas minus the 7 for $400.
I am going to take the over for 200.
Over 50.5 for 400?
For 200.
For 200. All right.
Yes, please.
Misheard that. All right. We've got Detroit at Minnesota. Minnesota +5.5. 44.5 is the over-under. What do you like?
I will take Minnesota, and I will take them for 300.
Minnesota, J.J. McCarthy. I don't know if he's playing, but for 300. I took Detroit minus the 5.5, and I did that for 400. I'm thinking they're going to rebound, but I don't know. A game that looked really good at the beginning of the season, but now is another awful Christmas game. Denver at Kansas City. Kansas City +12.5. The over-under's 36.5. And I'll tell you, I took the under for 300.
I'm gonna take the under for 200.
Under 36.5 for 200.
Yeah.
All right. We've got a big game, Houston at the Chargers. The Chargers are -1.5. 39.5 is the over-under.
300.
Houston plus the 1.5 for 300. I again went under the total of 39.5 for 300. We've got Baltimore at Green Bay. Can your pack get back on track. They're only minus 2.5, and that might be because of uncertainty regarding Jordan Love. I did take Green Bay minus the 2.5 for $300.
I'll take Green Bay, lay the points, and I will do 400.
All right. We've got Seattle at Carolina. Carolina is getting 7.5 points, and the over-under is 42.5.
I'll do the over for 300.
Over for 300. I want to make sure that game, yeah, it's at Carolina. So you're going to do the over 42.5 for 300. I took Seattle minus 7.5 for 300. An absolute meaningless game. Arizona at Cincinnati. Cincinnati's minus 7. The total's 53.5. And I took Cincinnati minus the 7 for 300.
I'm going to go under for 200.
Under 53.5 for 200. And we've got Tampa Bay at Miami. Miami is getting 5.5. The over-under is 45.5.
I'm going to take Tampa Bay for 400.
Tampa Bay minus the 5.5 for 400. I did the exact same. Tampa Bay minus 5.5 for 400. We've got Jacksonville at Indianapolis. Indy's getting 6.5. Total is 47.5.
I'm going to go over for 300.
Over 47.5 for 300. I took Indy, the hopeless fan. I took Indy plus 6.5 for 200. And we've got New England at the New York Jets. Jets getting 12.5. The total is 42.5.
I'll go over for 300.
Over 42.5 for 300. I actually took New England laying the points, 12.5 for $200. Another meaningless game, but maybe fun. New Orleans at Tennessee. Tennessee is plus 3. Total is 38.5. I went under the 38.5 for 200.
I'm going to do 400 on New Orleans.
New Orleans minus 3 for 400. Pittsburgh's at Cleveland. Cleveland's plus 3.5. Total is 33.5.
Jeez.
Yeah.
I'll do 200. I'll do 300 Steelers.
300 Pittsburgh minus the 3.5. I actually took Cleveland plus the 3.5 for 200. Another meaningless game. This is the absolute toilet bowl of toilet bowls. The Giants are at Vegas. Vegas minus 1.5. Total is 41.5. This could be for the number 1 pick in the draft. And I took the Giants plus the 1.5 for 200.
I'll do the under for 200.
Under 41.5 for 200. Big game, Philadelphia at Buffalo. Buffalo's minus 2.5. The total is 44.5.
$300 on the Eagles.
Philadelphia plus the 2.5 for 300. I took Buffalo minus the 2.5 for 300. We've got Chicago at San Francisco. Again, really good game here. San Fran is minus 3. The total is 51.5. And I took San Francisco minus the 3 for 400.
I'm going to take the Bears for 200.
Chicago plus the 3 for 200. If they win, you know they'll come from behind in the last 2 minutes and win it. And then the last game on the slate, the Rams travel to Atlanta. Atlanta's getting 8.5 points. The total is 49.5.
I'll do 300 on the over.
Over 49.5 for 300. I did the same thing for 200. And that wraps up the slate. So Murph, what do you do? Like, what's the Murphy house plan for tonight, tomorrow?
We will head to church. We will do a little Christmas Eve mass. And we will head to my sister-in-law's, hang out, wake up the next day, and then everybody will come to our house
Very cool.
for a Christmas dinner. How about you?
Well, first, are you going to change your shirt before Mass, or is that what you're going with?
Yeah, I might.
I think it's good. I think you should keep it.
We'll see.
I am going to Mass at 4:30 and then picked up a bunch of food. We'll just kind of veg out tomorrow, watch basketball, watch football, open gifts, and eat well and live large.
Yes. And that's what we'll do too. Looking forward to it though. Always do.
Such a great time of year.
It is. It is.
So to all our listeners, Merry Christmas, and Murph, have a really good Christmas. Tell the family I said hello, and we'll plan on getting back together.
You do the same, Jamie. I can't wait to keep talking about some stuff. I've enjoyed this. We're having some fun. More fun to come.
That's the best part. I said it in my podcast about It's a Wonderful Life. It's like, not only is this fun to do, but like not seeing you as much over the years, this has just brought that back. So it's been a lot of fun.
Yeah, it's just fun. It's fun.
Awesome.
I look forward to it.
All right, Murph, take care. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas, Jamie. Take care.
All right, that puts another wrap on a podcast. Thank you to Kevin Murphy for joining once again. This is our regular thing, and I hope everybody likes it. No podcast tomorrow for sure, and then we'll go from there and see what might do one Saturday. There is an AEW pay-per-view, I believe, Saturday or Sunday. So I'll probably preview that. So more to come. Again, please check, subscribe, follow the podcast on YouTube. It's at Tell Us Ellis Media. Comment if you want. Always open to your comments. Also on social media, follow me on X and follow me on Instagram at Tell Us Ellis HQ. And if you want to be part of the show, just email me, jamie@tellusellis.com. I think we got a good thing going here. So if you haven't checked out my last rewind sessions on It's a Wonderful Life, listen to it. If you've ever watched the movie, it's so deep. There's so many things in that movie that you really have to sit back and think about. So check that out. Got great reviews on the Billy Joel rewind sessions, his greatest hits. So a lot more to come. Again, very Merry Christmas to everybody. And I will talk to you soon. Take care.